Today I'm going to use the Vita Smart Organic Multi-Crock and Stock Pot to make my creamed mushrooms. So this is an awesome slow cooker, fast cooker. Let's plug it in and I'll show you how to do this. So it's made with clay and it gives a delicious texture and flavor to the food that we've been cooking in this. So today we're going to do a recipe with a couple kinds of mushrooms. Come on up and I'll show you the recipe. All right, I'm going to use a package of baby Bella mushrooms. These are whole and I'm just going to cut them in about thirds. I'm going to add some shiitake mushrooms for flavor. These are a little bit different texture, but I do like the flavor they put into a dish. I'm going to use about a half a block of Philadelphia cream cheese, a half a stick of butter, some celery, some onions, some garlic, which are already prepared here, and some parsley flakes and some pepper. Top it off with a little butter. What I'm going to do right now is wash the mushrooms. All right, we're going to turn the Vita cooker on to the slow setting. And I'm going to put in half a stick of butter and a half a block of cream cheese. I'm going to add the garlic and the celery, and the onions can go in right now too. And as this pot warms up, it'll melt the butter and the cream cheese. We're going to get that little sauce nice and juicy before we add the mushrooms. While that's warming up, I'm going to take the mushrooms that I just washed, and I just want to say that it's very important to wash the mushrooms. Some people think that mushrooms shouldn't be washed because they get a slimy texture, but really there is so much peat moss and stuff that they're grown in on the mushrooms that it's essential to wash them. And we're going to cook them in liquid anyway, so we don't have to worry about that because they're actually going to cook nicely in some liquid. All right, I'm going to cut these into thirds, and now while the butter and cream cheese are warming up. All right, I'm almost finished with cutting all the mushrooms up, but I just want to explain the baby Bellas. I use them for more of a robust flavor. They really can flavor things. If you're going to use this with meat, the shiitakes have a different texture and they're a little bit more rubbery, but they also have a very nice flavor that they add. And I think they're more about the texture. Sometimes when you eat Asian food, you'll see those in there. But the combination of these two together, really nice. The reason I'm slicing them so much like this rather than using little round ones is I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can use these mushrooms when they're cooked. And one of them is to use them in a veggie sandwich. So, all right, let's take a peek in the crock pot here. This is starting to melt. And we'll be back in a couple minutes. And we'll add the mushrooms. You can see the steam coming off a little bit. One thing we want to make sure of with this pot, since it's made out of clay, is that we don't shock it with any temperature changes. So the reason I'm starting this on low is so that we can add the cold mushrooms, or rather, so we can add the room temperature mushrooms before we crank up the heat. Okay, be right back. Okay, see how nice and creamy this is getting? That looks really nice. I'm going to take some pepper. I'm going to add some pepper in here. And then I'm going to add some parsley. You can use fresh or dried. I'm just going to use dried parsley today. A couple shakes. Something like that. And then I have about 1.5 cups of water. And this is warm water so that we don't have any temperature changes in this pot. Let's mix this around a little bit and then we'll throw the mushrooms in. Very easy recipe. It's actually called creamed garlic mushrooms. All right, while I'm stirring, I'm going to introduce the mushrooms. We just want to make sure that they get covered with some of the sauce before we start to cook, because mushrooms release a lot of water and it all will be contained in this pot, so we'll start to see the sauce turn brown as they cook, and we'll have plenty of liquid, I'm sure. I'm going to put a link below to this pot. It's something very unusual. We have only been cooking with it here for a couple of weeks, but we found that the food that we cook is really nice. It has a great texture. You can cook it fast or slow, which is a great feature. And the clay pot technology is actually comes from an ancient way of cooking. So it's very interesting and very flavorful. Now you see how they all have some of the coating on. I don't mind stirring it along the way here as some of the mushrooms create their own juices. Oh, it's gonna be good. All right, I'm gonna put the lid back on. You can hear the texture of this is kind of like that of a pizza stove. All right, let's go down to the controls now. All right, I'm gonna set this pot. We're gonna have it on slow, and we're gonna set it for 4 hours. You can change the time plus or minus. And we'll be back around lunchtime to show you how you can serve this. All right, time's up. We've cooked this for 4 hours on the slow setting. And let's take a look. Quick, take a look in there. Oh, look at it bubbling. Okay, this is perfect. Look at that creamy sauce. The mushrooms are nicely cooked, all of them. The onions and celery, perfect. All right, I'm going to take this over to the table and I'm going to show you 3 great ways to eat this recipe. Okay, the first and easiest way to eat this is just as a side dish. You can have as much of the juice that you want. It can be almost like a soup. Or just strain off the mushrooms with the celery and onions and have a nice side dish like that. All right, for the second one, I'm going to show you serving it over rice. So I have a Pyrex dish and I have some of this whole grain brown rice. I just steamed it in the microwave for convenience to show you a quick recipe. You rip this open, pour the rice into the dish, and then we'll serve some of the nice mushrooms and with a lot of the juices this time over top. Now this is what I'm taking to work for my lunch tomorrow. Isn't that nice? Lots of flavors. So let that cool off and I'll refrigerate it for my lunch bag tomorrow. Third way is I'm going to make a nice sandwich out of this. This is 29 grain and seed bread, nice healthy bread. I'm going to add a couple pieces of sliced Cooper cheese. I'm going to make a layer of the mushroom mixture. We'll start to melt the cheese because it's nice and hot. And I'm going to top that with some shredded carrots for a little crunch. And I have some very thinly sliced cucumbers. Next I'm going to use a little key lime yogurt. This is a Greek yogurt mixture. Just stir it in a little bit. The lime gives it a little tangy flavor. You could use lemon or lime, I think would be nice. And get a nice creamy, alright, something like this. Sprinkle on some nice sunflower seeds. Alright, there's a nice third way to serve the mushrooms. Our creamy garlic mushrooms. And so if you're interested in this kind of cooking, I'll put the link below where you can get that pot. And if you don't have one, you can use this recipe in a slow cooker of your own. But 3 good recipes. Hope you liked them. If you like my videos, please subscribe and come back and see some more. Thanks.